All right, good evening, everybody. I just had a live on Facebook Live. Told everybody to come switch over here to YouTube, and we're talking about these thunderstorms moving through now. Very heavy rain. You kind of see that on the other side over here, and that's pushing towards Decatur and moving into Athens. So Athens, you had a really heavy downpour earlier, and now you have more heavy rain. There's nothing severe out there, but there are some pretty strong winds, and I was looking at those strong winds. In fact, I'm going to switch over here to the velocity. And we had some winds around 45 to perhaps borderline 50 mile per hour gusts, and we're kind of seeing that here. This is going to be just to the west of Athens and around Coxie, so very strong winds with very heavy rain. Probably zero visibility driving through this. Some of you may be at ball practice or a ball game and it's delayed. I got to tell you, it's probably going to be canceled in some of these areas just because of the amount of intense rainfall we're seeing here within these storms. So I'll take that full. And it's my chair, by the way. I don't see a lot of hail in here, but if you guys have any hail, let me know. But I would say if we get any hail, it is going to be pea size. Hello, Andrea. Nothing severe. I'm going to talk more about what we expect tonight. And I think the reason the models have had such a hard time with this is because if I were to go back over the last 2 hours, you would see the initial line of storms we were tracking all afternoon that fell apart, and the boundary kept going. So the wind doesn't stop. And it's kind of like when you throw a rock out in the middle of a lake. When you throw that rock out there, you get that wake that goes out, that ring of water. It just keeps going. Of course, it'll dissipate as it goes farther away. And it's basically what we're doing in meteorology is studying fluid dynamics. And as the rain stops, but the wind still goes, and if the air ahead of that is still unstable, well, you get these thunderstorms that we're having fire up right now. So that's kind of what's going on with these showers and thunderstorms. Heavy rain in Trinity. How about in Athens? Let's zoom in here. And it's not going to be that bad. There may be a little bit of hail here. I'm going to stop this loop. You see where we have this little pixel here? This hotter pixel. Let's take a look at the what's called the VIL value. It's not until you start getting yellows up here north of Loretto in Tennessee. Probably dealing with some pea-sized hail there, but any hail is pretty small right now with these storms. But you see these bands of heavy rain, Priceville down to Somerville, east of Eva. If you're over here in Jackson County, this is all coming your way. It's taking its time. Check for more questions here. Hey, how's it going, Amanda? And we got crazy in Alabama. Over in Florence, I think you're going to be waiting on more storms coming later tonight. Let's take a look at Memphis here. Yeah, well, see, there's some wraparound moisture that's coming back behind all this. This won't be all that intense. You're mainly just dealing with some heavy rain. Oh, there I am. I was at the bottom. I couldn't see myself. Let me move that there and make it just a little bit higher. So this is all going to come in on the backside of this area low pressure, and it's probably looking at rain through the morning hours, and then it's finally going to dissipate a little bit. But again, we're switching radars here. I'll come back over here to the high top NEXRAD. So this is one of those days where if you're driving north-south on I-65, it is an absolute mess because you're dealing with all that. I'm going to go over here to the satellite, turn the satellite off on this, and looking at something else here real quick. Let's see if I can get, okay, I'll give you another perspective of what's going on here. Whoop, that's the satellite. Again, this is a really cool satellite image here. Let me blow this up a little bit for you. You've got the the interesting thing is you have one MCS that turned into two. On the northern side here up in northwest Alabama, we're starting to get a new development. That's going to continue on up into Tennessee. And then on the southern flank, you have a secondary MCS, which stands for Mesoscale Convective Complex. That has developed. And overall, it's just really cool to see that happen. And then, of course, you've got the big upper low out west, the tornadoes, potential tornadoes in Oklahoma. There have been some confirmed tornadoes out in western Kansas. So I want to show you this other radar product here. It's called WSV3. You can download this yourself. And again, I just got information. I haven't looked at it. Somebody gave me some information, said that the software developers working on a new update for this. I like the look of a lot of this. It's just a little bit quirky in some of the things I like to do. But you go in here into Athens, and there's just very heavy rain there. Let me switch to the high top radar. Let me just click once, and maybe that'll... This is what I mean by it's a little quirky. So that was a little slow to give me that information. Let's see what they've got up here. Special weather statement. Again, this is not a severe thunderstorm warning, although it looks like it on here. This is a special weather statement for wind gusts, maybe max wind gusts of 40 miles per hour with that particular storm there. So I wonder if I need a bigger box. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, there's that one. All right, I can't really move that, can I? I can move that. There we go. Ooh, I don't know what I just did here with this purple. Yeah, see, I don't know what that is. What's that say? This must be tracking like the centroid of these storm speed 30. These are automatic storm tracks is basically what these are. Those are not tornado warnings. So again, like I said, I'm kind of experimenting with some of these products here. But let's take a look at, I wonder if I could get the velocity. Let me try to get velocity on here. And again, I didn't bring my put my glasses on. So we've got some really still strong wind coming in here on the west side of Athens. So we're talking probably 45, maybe 50 mile per hour winds on the west side of Athens. That's going to be out towards Coxie. Alias velocity, storm relative velocity. Yeah, so there's some really strong wind in that storm moving towards Elkmont. I don't think it's severe, but you can see some isolated wind damage with something like this. Okay, turn that off. There we go. And I can loop that. So what we're dealing with is these really, again, intense storms coming through. Get back to my comments over here on YouTube. Yeah, I've got like a dual monitor set up here, and then I've got the laptop here. So this is kind of what I'm wrestling with. I've got all this connected, and I've got this really sweet Blackmagic switcher. It's called the ATEM Mini Extreme. So I had the Mini Pro. I gave that to a friend. So he bought it from me. So again, what we're dealing with is these slow-moving thunderstorms, very heavy rain, continue to track off to the northeast. And down here in southern Marshall County, Arab, all this is coming for you. Again, this is just heavy rain. Whoops. You know, I just need to get out of the way. Yeah, so I'll get out of the way. I was blocking the screen. I'm pretty sure some of you were bothered by it. Okay, let's see here. Ooh, I hear thunder outside my building. I mean, outside my house. And that's probably just off to the southwest of me. But one thing I've noticed is this storm just now past Rogersville. Boy, that loop is pretty fast. I'll have to adjust that interval. Okay, let me try this manual tracking. haven't tried. I mean, I've tried to do this and it won't. It's not very good. Nah, it won't let me do hand tracking. So that's another one of the bugs here I found on this. I don't know, maybe someone's watching that's more familiar with this than I am. Again, there's no manual on this. But I do know it's raining hard in Rogersville, and it's raining hard on the west side of Athens. You get just west of Jefferson Street, and that's where that really heavy rain is. Let's see. Yeah, some good comments coming in here. Is it still weakening? Well, it's weaker than it was earlier. Yeah, I do need some I probably need a new chair. This chair's like 15 years old. Let me switch you over to the radar scope here, and we'll get in a little bit more detail on these storms. You can see the general motion. So I'm going to go down this whole line. If you're in Lawrenceburg, heavy rain coming in, probably wind gusts around 30 miles per hour. And down towards Minor Hill and Leicester, and you go to Ardmore. And right at the Welcome Center, the much debated rocket there getting rained on. And that's going to be on the west side of Ardmore, that heavy rain there. But additionally, and eventually this rain is going to be moving up in that direction. So as we get into Athens, very heavy rain. I do want to take a look at the wind in that storm there, because that's where we had some higher wind earlier. First, I'll look at Ville value. Pea-size hail. Looks like some pea-size hail on the west side of Athens. Anytime we get these little yellow areas, that's indicating it's a little bit higher. But if you've ever watched this Ville value, man, it can blow up and get to white. So we're a long ways from big hail with this storm. Let's take a look at the velocity. Yeah, there's really strong wind. I'd say 40 mile an hour on the west side there of Athens. And moving into Priceville, some pretty strong wind gusts there. And that's from this other thunderstorm that's just passed through. So this is all eventually, if you're out at Palmer Park, maybe watching, they may have already delayed stuff because of the lightning off in the distance. They will do that. You know, when it's nighttime in the summer, you can see those, the lightning a lot farther away. So they're probably delayed, but it's going to be probably hour and a half, 2 hours before this completely moves out here. Somerville, there's two bands here. I think one other thing that may be happening here is there may be another outflow boundary that's sneaking out. So this boundary spreads out, and I think I mentioned this on Facebook. I don't think I mentioned it here, but these boundaries are like, it's fluid dynamics that we're talking about. And it's like when you throw a rock out in the lake, that little swell that comes out from that water, it continues on. So that's what's happening. The rain is coming down. The wind is spreading out, and we don't have a lot of wind shear to maintain big updrafts with some of these thunderstorms. So eventually, the storms, and again, there's not a lot of upper level wind too, so the storm movement. So what happens is the wind at the surface it creates outruns the updraft of the thunderstorm. So you get kind of a leapfrog effect. You get thunderstorms that pop up, then they die out, but the wind still remains, just like that wake. Even the wake from a boat, you know, it keeps going, and kind of, especially wakeboarders, right? We don't want to get into the wakeboard subject here, but again, if you're from Smith Lake, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that wave continues out, and as it continues out, that's where we get these new thunderstorms developing. And I think that's what might be happening here in Morgan County. I think the boundary has kind of leaped out ahead, and new developments happening. Down here, if you're down in Marshall County, we've got more heavy rain coming back in from the southwest. So Douglas, you can probably see the lightning off in the distance coming your way. Let's see. Check some of your... Didn't get any alert when I went on live on YouTube, huh? YouTube is silencing me. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, my picture blocked 40% of the screen. Yeah. I have to settle for smaller pictures. Or... just go with the this setup here. That's kind of how I start. I kind of like this little set. One thing I like about this switcher is I've got like, I think it's 6 or 8 inputs of video I can put in. So there's a lot more I can do with this switcher once I get around to it. But I've just, again, I'm just been experimenting with all this. Yeah, the line, again, back to that question, is the line still weakening? All right, anybody in Athens verify any little bitty hail over there? Still thunder and light rain in Rogersville. Now, as the storm gets closer to my house, I'm going to have to go outside and enjoy it, you know. Because I don't often get to be at home when there's thunderstorms. So, let's see. Well, the storm isn't totally... thank you, Mary. The storm isn't totally moving slow. What's happening is the angle these storms are coming in, they're moving east, and the individual storms are moving northeast at about, actually north-northeast, and then all of a sudden that upper low pulls them back to the northwest. So it's just the slow movement here. And we've seen this area expand out here. So this area of thunderstorms used to be fairly narrow, about like this, and now you see it's probably 15, 20 miles wider than it was earlier. So this is kind of spreading the heavy rain out, and it's kind of bowing out here a little bit. It's kind of flexing up here towards Leicester, so I think we've got some pretty high wind coming into Leicester. And I say high wind, we're talking 45. It's probably higher than that above the ground, but keep in mind it's not reaching the ground. Can I slow this down? I can on the other one, so let me get that thing going here. I want to see if maybe there's a little microburst in that. Base DA, storm total velocity. Maybe. I think we've had a big downburst. Over here west of Elkmont, maybe. So that may have produced a wind gust of 50. And that's the sound of my computer. The laptop. So strong gusty winds here. Base velocity. That must no longer be a product. Ooh. Probably a little bit of hail here just west of Elkmont. And that's going to move toward close to Elkton. Let's take a look at the winds again. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing severe in here. There's some strong gusty winds. And a little bit of hail. That's pretty much it. You can see, if you're out, again, if you're just joining us, you're out in Florence. It's probably over for several hours. You'll get more rain coming in overnight tonight. That's pretty much it there. No, you don't have to worry about any tornadoes, Cassandra. This is not a tornado. These are summertime thunderstorms, basically. So, once again, I'm looking at the velocity here, and you can just see some strong winds right across the state line near Leicester. Put the reflectivity back on. I don't know why it's giving me that. Another one of those quirks here with this. Let me switch out and go back to it. Yeah, that's weird. Maybe I don't get the best version when I'm testing it. I've got 8 more days. What I do want to do here, I'll head out to the plains here in just a second. So we've got, this is Storm Prediction Center website, and we've got tornado watches out to the west. Here's where the storm reports have been today. The tornadoes have been, from now, have been over northwestern Kansas and southwest Nebraska. One tornado report, it looks like west of Oklahoma City, and some damaging wind reports out of this MCS earlier in Mississippi. That was late morning into the afternoon. So we can go back here and we can look at mesoanalysis, and we'll see how unstable the air is. And I bet it's not as unstable. This is that, yeah, see the Cape's about 1,000. What we're dealing with is right at the peak of these showers and thunderstorms. That's where the Cape, I don't know if you can see very well here, but right in here, this goes back into Limestone County, pretty much exactly where the storms are. So the rotation of the storms, all this, the southeast wind here is just continuing to feed that instability and that precipitable water, we call it, all that moisture. And you see behind it, this is just a big cool pool, I'll say, because somebody would be like, that's not cold. So that's just stable air back here. And I think we can probably see it pretty good here. There's precipitable water. Man, there's a lot of water in the air back over Memphis. So right underneath that upper low that's still going to swing through, that's almost 2 inches of available moisture. So again, that just shows us how heavy the rain can be. And that's why the rain's so heavy. There's just so much water in the air. All right, back to the radar. Again, Elkmont, Athens, down to Mooresville, Triana, moving into Harvest and Monrovia here in about 10 to 15 minutes with very heavy rain. Thanks, Jameson, coming down in buckets there in Priceville. Yep. You had a couple. You had an initial one that's now near Mooresville, and this is going to move into Madison. So I mentioned Palmer Park here earlier. It's on the way. This is going to come straight up County Line Road. Very heavy rain. And let's see if it knows my current location. Let's see here. I don't see that option on there. Oh well, I don't need you guys to see where I live anyway, right? It's pretty close to this area right here. So this is the heavy rain down here that's going to track straight up County Line Road and move up to Capshaw, Harvest, and Monrovia. I wish this had a way to, and there's Highway 53 is right in here. I'm in southwest Harvest, basically. We're talking winds around 40 to 45 miles per hour possible. Maybe a little stronger than that up in Elkmont right now. But we don't have any tornado winds. We don't have any, there's no Sand Mountain magic. There's none of that. So we're not, this is summertime environment. Wind shear's low. The storms pretty much go up and go down. We're talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours of some heavy rain. Now, if this was a straight line moving due east, it'd be over a lot sooner, but this is just kind of the way it is. Right now I'm kind of planning, I'm probably going to park close to the building when I get to work because I'm going to be soaking wet if I don't. Yeah, this is all coming right in. So right now on County Line Road, very heavy rain coming in. And here's Highway 72. Check the winds again. I'll check the Ville value first since I'm down there. Not much there. And looks like the higher winds now north of Elkmont. I don't see anything severe in this at all. One thing you can see, and I want to see how this lines up. You can see the boundary right here. Let's see what it looks like when I put the, yeah. So that's why we're getting new development here along this boundary as it moves northeast. So these storms are going to intensify that are moving into Madison. I mean, they're not going to be severe, I don't think, but and the storms behind it are weakening. So the rain's kind of dissipating there in Decatur. Yeah, I need to increase air conditioning in here with all these computers and the big screen monitor. I never realized how much these monitors actually warm things up in here. Plans for my future office, home office. All right. I can actually hear the house creaking a little bit, so the wind's probably picking up outside right now. Another look here at different software, kind of gives you a different perspective of it. So expand the view out here. And let's go out here to Oklahoma City real quick. This is where they've been dealing with some severe weather. They did have one tornado report here earlier, southwest of Oklahoma City. All right, I need to double click. It looks like things have quieted down. All right, it's not working for me. Like I said, there's a few quirks here with this software. Yeah, it's not loading. I wonder if the radar's down. Maybe it is. Okay, now it's just basically locked up. Okay. All right. Another reason I'm not really excited about that software right now. Maybe my computer's fast, so it shouldn't be the problem. All right, let's quickly talk about model guidance here. And I will pull that up real quick. My computer sounds like it's settling down a little bit. I need to shrink this one over here. And let me double check with the Weather Service, see if they've got any reports out here. Trees down at Waterloo High School. That was at 7 o'clock this evening. So Waterloo High School. Man, I was just there a few weeks ago. Out in Waterloo. Poured some trees down. So probably microburst. And that's the only report we've had. And that was an hour and a half ago. But it just came in. So they had some power outages out there in Waterloo too. All right, let's take a look at the big picture here. This is going to be using the GFS model. And that L is the big storm that's out there in the plains. I'll get in closer. Oh, I heard thunder outside. So, curious to, now tomorrow morning, I think we have storms still in the forecast there. And then as we get into, this is going to be Monday, so still looking at rain. Sunday, it's kind of all around us. This model wants it to rain Monday, but we're going to keep it at 20%. I'm going to go ahead and go into the HRRR model. And we are going to go regional here. And let's talk. Okay, so this is going to basically be, it's going back in time here. So here we are about our current situation right there. So here's what happens as we go forward in time. Notice more rain developing about 2 o'clock in the morning near Moulton down to Double Springs and across the shoals. See how that rain expands. This won't be severe. This is heavy rain. And it continues moving into the Huntsville metro area for the morning commute. That's about 4 in the morning. And just widespread rain to start your Friday. And this is going to be about noon, and it all starts moving out. So Friday afternoon looks good. Another cluster of storms here. This is going to be overnight into Saturday morning. And then this goes all the way to Saturday about 11 a.m. So Saturday morning looks good. So that's some good news there. All right, the heavy weather moving in. Let me switch back over here to that. Let's address any last minute questions here. Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of this is kind of raw data. Yeah, that's you got a good point there. That's what I'm looking for is a software that can better show what's going on here. And I know some of the best software is what we have at the station. But again, I'm trying to do stuff a little bit away from the station on some of these and experiment with these products. Yeah, you don't get street level mapping here on this. And I didn't see it on the other software either. Basically, you're looking at some raw data. Good point, CMAC. All right, I'm going to go out and watch it rain for a few minutes, and I'm going to get back to work driving in the rain. I do appreciate you guys joining me here on the channel. Again, subscribe. If you're subscribed, make sure you get notifications. I know some of you said you didn't get a notification that I was going live, and that's kind of one of the reasons I did a Facebook Live for about 5-6 minutes just to kind of notify everybody that way. I appreciate it. You guys take care. Got to grab the right mouse first. I've got 3 of them. See you later. Coming up at 10, latest forecast. Again, I'm taking tomorrow off, and I'm glad. 3-day weekend.